All right, coming to you live from the We the People Podcast Network here in the beautiful city of Rochester, New York. I want to welcome you to this week's Politically Correcting Podcast. New time, new music. Guest, or not my guest, but my co-host is still late. What are we going to do with Lavelle out there? Anyone out there with any ideas on what to do with Lavelle and how he's always late to things? Let me know. My co-host, Lavelle, will be here in a minute. Austin on the ones and twos.
Hello.
Everyone get your drinks out and let's toast to the ability for us to be able to have a drink with another person, have open and honest dialogue, and being able to still walk away being friends. Salud.
Cheers.
All right. I need to waste a little time before Lavelle gets here. I'm going to jump right into my 41 challenge. I said I was going to come back out with this. If any of you recall, I started with the 37 challenge before I started into politics. We've kind of been doing this every year. I challenge you to donate some money to local causes. What I do every fall and winter. October, I get pumpkins for the kids. November, we get turkeys, we get gift baskets, food, stuff like that for November, for Thanksgiving. And then for December, we've been doing like snow attire, snow either coats or snow pants. So my challenge is always based around my birthday. This year I'm turning 41. My birthday's on 25th, which is on Sunday. You don't have to sing for me. It's okay, Austin. Thank you.
I was teeing up.
I knew you were going to. So this year is the 41 challenge, which the challenge will be, I challenge you, donate $41 each month for the next 3 months. $41 to a cause. Either you can donate to a cause or donate to, or send it to me and I will gather the funds together to put forth these events. If you've seen in the past, I've done hundreds of pumpkins. That's probably my favorite one. Fall is always my favorite, and Halloween is my favorite. It's my favorite holiday by far, and nothing even comes close. I love Halloween. That's how I got it started 4 years ago when I had the 37 challenge, which you can hashtag 37 challenge. You can look it up on Facebook, hashtag 37 challenge, and see what we've done in the past, hashtag 38 challenge. See what we've done in the past. But what you can do is you could donate to a nonprofit of your choice, or again, send it to me at the, let me know if you want to send it to me, because all I do is just aggregate the funds together. I go to a local farm and then I get the pumpkins delivered to somewhere locally. So what I'm going to do this year for the pumpkins themselves, we have a local farm on Lexington Avenue, and there's right next to it a huge plot of land. And someone actually brought it up at one of the Lyle Ave Association meetings where they wanted to do some type of, or they want to be able to grow pumpkins so that kids can have a pumpkin patch, a local pumpkin patch. Problem being that plot of land is a brownfield. So you can't grow anything out of it. You'd have to take off like 2 feet of land, earth, and then replace it with like 2 feet of earth in order to even do anything with it. But what we can do is I can have a farm come drop off pumpkins, and we can have, a pumpkin patch right above the ground. There's no issues with, the contamination from the earth getting into the pumpkins. It's right on top. And we can get some pumpkins for these kids that a lot of kids don't have the opportunity to go to pumpkin patches. A lot of kids don't have the opportunity to even get pumpkins. There was one time I think it was 250, 300 pumpkins that we did. We had 3 different classes, 3 different grades in the school where they came down, and I had RPD come down. I had some friends that donated some time, and we helped these kids cut and paint pumpkins. It was an amazing time. It really is a great time seeing these kids with these pumpkins, because as I said, it's a blessing to be able to give to those who have none. Growing up, we weren't able to do all the fun things that I'm able to do now. We weren't able to always have different pumpkins for all 3 of us as kids. So being able to, show these kids that there's opportunity out there, there's love out there, there's happiness out there to be had in just the most simplest things. I really hope you get involved. The hashtag 41 challenge, get involved. I'm hoping you do. Let me know. All right, so the verse of the week, Matthew 7:13. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. Some of us can easily see the road that leads to destruction, and it's being led by those who want, men of color in particular, to believe that everything bad in our lives is because our country is built on racism and society has oppressed us. Let's be very clear here. I want you to hear me out. This is me, my own insight here. I don't have it harder because I'm Latino. I don't have it harder because I'm Latino. I have it harder because I'm a free-thinking man who doesn't align with the narrative. And they hate that. They absolutely hate that. I could easily fall in line, call myself Latinx, as Austin so eloquently puts it. Latinx, use pronouns in my bio. Think little 8-year-old boys should not call grown men pedophiles for wanting to have sex with them. Believe a man could be a woman. I would be elevated up by the Democratic elites to be the next big thing. But I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy because I choose to not be that guy. I have it harder on myself. I make it hard on myself because I choose to stand for truth and common sense over bearing false witness and virtue signaling. Most men of color, not most men of color. I'm calling on men of color out there. Men in general, choose your own path. I'm not saying mine is right, but I am saying it's one based on integrity. It's based on testicular fortitude. And the gate to this path that I'm on is extremely narrow, extremely narrow. And as I don't see very many around me, no one's as vocal as about a lot of things that are happening in this society today as I am, except for my late co-host Lavelle there, of course. But look around you. Is the path that you are on right now, is it narrow and tough to walk on? Or is it smooth and wide open, filled with everyone believing the same thing as you and applauding you for standing up for what's they believe or what they see to be the new world order, essentially? If you're accepted by everyone in society today, trust me, you're on the road that leads to destruction. That's my verse of the week there. Let's get into one of my favorites, the daily COVID update. Let's bring up President Biden. What did President Biden have to say this week on his one-on-one with 60 Minutes, right? Scroll that down. I can't see it, please. There we go. Biden declared the pandemic over. He declared it. He said it out loud. He said the pandemic is over. Look around you. No one here is wearing masks, and everyone seems to be physically fit. They look like they're good. They look like they're healthy. He said it. It's not like he misspoke. We can all see when Biden misspeaks or misspokes or whatever the term is. We know when he messes up his verbiage. This was a very clear, the pandemic is over. He didn't mess up his words. He didn't slur them. He didn't, nothing. There was no speech impediment when he said that.
Well, he doubled down on it.
Oh,
he reiterated it afterward.
But did you see how his team, the administration that he is supposed to be the leader of, says the second sentence of the title there, his COVID team says it's more complicated. So a lot of the question that a lot of people have is who is actually running this country, right? And I think it's pretty telling when the president says something, when he declares something, and then his team has to retract his statement. They have to backtrack what he says. They have to, he didn't really mean that. In the 60-minute interview, he literally said, the pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it, but the pandemic is over. Literally, his words, in quotes. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Twice he said it.
Right.
The declaration surprised the president's own senior health officials, many of whom only learned about Biden's remarks from tweets and news headlines. The president had not originally planned to make major news on COVID, nor had he discussed with his health advisors announcing an end to the pandemic soon, two senior officials said. Even Fauci came out and said, no, the pandemic is not over. There were White House officials that came out and said the pandemic is not over. He was just saying, whatever. You can't sit there and say you're the president of the United States of America and you're the leader of the free world, But then every time you say something, you got people who are backtracking what you said. That calls for an immediate firing, in my opinion. If I go out there and I say something and my assistant comes back and says, no, Jose didn't really mean that. He meant blah, blah, blah. And I looking at him and I were to say, no, I meant that. I said what I said. I'd fire him. I'd fire him immediately. No, you're not gonna backtrack me. I said what I said. This is the president of the United States. He said the pandemic is over. That's it. The problem is that the elites out there, if we were to say that the pandemic is over, guess what? All those emergency orders are gone. Gone. That means any powers that they claimed to have had because of a COVID pandemic emergency would immediately stop. It would immediately end. And that's the problem that they have. The problem is not that COVID is still a scary thing. It can be for certain people, certainly. They're talking about hundreds of people die per day from COVID. Well, the question would be, how many people died per day from everything else? What if thousands of people died per day from the flu before? Right? If thousands of people die from the flu every day or die from pneumonia every day, and you're going to sit there and say that hundreds of people die from COVID every day, which one should we be more afraid of? If it's only a couple hundred people per day in the entire United States, I'm sorry, but I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about it anyways, though. I mean, I think everybody there knows that I'm not too much concerned about it because I'm not in a high risk group, period. So I wasn't just never concerned about it. But there is another part to this COVID update. New York City cop that sued because of the COVID vaccine requirements. NYPD cop can't be fired for not having COVID vaccine. The judge rules. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is where an NYPD police officer took it to the highest court and he said, I'm going to keep fighting this. I'm going to fight for my opportunity to say my body, my choice. He fought and he won. Judge says, no, you cannot fire him because of COVID vaccine. I love it. I love it. I told this is what we had to, this is the problem, is that we have to sue for our rights over our own bodies. That's a problem. We can sit here, all these people are out here claiming that my body, my choice. Well, this guy fought for exactly that. He put up his own money and fought for exactly that. So I love seeing that. I love when people beat the system and say, you know what? You were wrong. You overstepped your boundaries. That's literally what this says. Anyone that sues and the judge says, yes, the government or your employer overstepped their boundaries, you have to respect that, because it takes a lot of cojones to go up against, your job and say, you're going to hire me back. Especially since now, I think at this point, most people can see based on the data that the vaccine was not as good as they said it was or claimed it would be. And I really hope that people start hiring people back again, because we have a lot of people who are going to the emergency room and can't get help because we don't have enough medical doctors. We don't have enough emergency room doctors. We don't have enough nurses. We don't have enough techs. Look, people, we need to get back to normal here. Let's bring... Who decides to grace us with his presence here? Let's bring up the Daily Absurdity reparations video, please. Good timing.
Reparations. Right
Yeah.
on time, right?
Right on time.
And then you have those
Your
who
boy
are
here.
asking for reparations for colonialism, and they're wondering, $100 billion, $24 billion here and there, 500 million there. Some people want to be paid back, and members of the public are wondering, why are we suffering when you are, you have all of this vast wealth? Those are legitimate concerns.
Well, I think you're right about reparations in terms of, if people want it, though, what they need to do is you always need to go back to the beginning of a supply chain. Where was the beginning of the supply chain? That was in Africa. And when across the entire world, when slavery was taking place, which was the first nation in the world that abolished slavery? The first nation in the world to abolish it. It was started by William Wilberforce, was the British. And I think you're totally right. If reparations need to be paid, we need to go right back to the beginning of that supply chain and say, who was rounding up their own people and having them handcuffed in cages? Absolutely. That's where they should start.
It's an interesting discussion.
It's an interesting
Thank you very much. I
discussion.
appreciate it.
Your boy Diane Limon there getting owned. That's what the video calls it. Diane Limon gets owned. That she's absolutely right. If we're going to talk about reparations, we have to go back to the very beginning. Who was it that did it? Speaking of this exact conversation here, bring up the Woman King movie.
Yeah, it's an interesting movie too.
Have you seen it?
Haven't seen it, but
Would you go see it?
Probably not. I'll probably wait.
So it's free.
Of course.
Makes
or
sense.
it's HBO Max, and it's paid for
There you go.
subscription.
So you can make your popcorn at home.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Woman King movie. They were fact checked. Oh, mind you, the video before was a CNN video. This was not like, people always look at, oh, where did it come from? Where'd you hear this from? Was it Fox News or was it Breitbart? That was CNN. That was Donnie Limon right there, who got schooled on who actually deserves reparations. I don't even think she was saying who deserves reparations. I think she was pointing out the absurdity that we're going to sit there and say white folks need to pay for black folks. But if you go outside right now and ask someone, hey, do you think that, black folks deserve reparations? They say, yes, I believe they do. Okay, pull out your phone. Let's Venmo somebody right now. There's a black man walking down the street right now. Venmo him $500. They won't do it. They won't even send him $20. They won't do it. It's nonsense. Don't listen to nobody like that. But the Woman King movie, fact checking what really happened, what didn't in Viola Davis's historical epic. So what do you think this talks about?
The article?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of these films are never accurate anyway. They always, miss.
Except for Iron Man.
Okay. Well, Marvel, that's a whole different story. But with majority of these, I don't know, historical biographies that they create in Hollywood, it's all for it's just to stir up some sort of, angry emotion within the people that they're targeting, right? Like, for example, if you watch any World War II or any movie that involves the Nazis, and you are always constantly reminded of certain things, but there are a lot of inaccuracies within that as well. We don't talk about how the United States companies like Ford and a couple other companies were funding and, financing a bunch of the, tanks, and
it's all about who finances the war.
who all
That's
finances, right? You got to follow the money.
That's it. Simple
Right?
as that.
Yeah.
Every war.
Every
who's
war.
financing it? Who's making money off of it? Who's providing the not only the services but also the products to fight the war?
Well, I love like these movies. They're so fake to me because they always try to make it seem as though every single African that was stolen from the continent was just living their best life, and all of a sudden 3 white, men came and threw a net on them like they're freaking animals, dragged them to the ship, and then all of a sudden they're stolen. When there were a lot of kings and leaders in Africa who probably still today still doing a little bit of slave trading as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, let's not kid ourselves that slavery's in it, but yeah, Africa.
1 in every 20 slaves during the American slave trade was captured directly by the Dahomey tribe. That's what this movie is about.
Yeah.
The Dahomey tribe.
Dahomies.
1 in every 20 slaves during the American slave trade was captured directly by that tribe.
Most of the slaves were prisoners of war anyway. I mean, you know how
it's the same thing with Native Americans. People come out here and say we stole the American Native land. First of all, let me premise this with me being Puerto Rican. I am American Indian. I am the original people.
So they say.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
No. We are true Native Americans. Our tribe is not looked at though by the federal government as being a tribe of Native Americans.
But why would they want you to know that?
Because they never want you to know real history. But I can sit there and say that I know American Native Indian tribes fought, killed, slaughtered, and took their own slaves. They took over lands. So when we say, oh, this is the land of that originally belonged to blah, 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 originally belonged to, or did that tribe take over from another tribe? Do you know your history? Do you know the actual history of this tribe that you're claiming owns the land that we're on? Like right now, we're in Irondequoit, right? So that's the Iroquois Indians. That's the assumption that we make. Is this really Irondequoit Indian, or is it really Irondequoit or Iroquois Indian lands? Did they take it from somebody else? Did they take it from the Mohawks?
It would make sense that they probably did. I mean, there's had to be battles and fights and, jockeying for land.
It is natural all throughout history for people going after other people for their land.
No, everyone
And
was like
resources.
living in kumbaya, sharing the wealth.
Yeah, socialism was never
No.
a thing.
Hmm.
And that
So the weaker of the human race at that time, right? They were just let go and said, you know what? We're not going to conquer you and do any of that stuff. That never
no,
happened?
they killed them.
They killed
They
them.
would kill the men of the tribe, and they would kill the young men as well, because who would be the ones that would rise up against them?
Yeah. I think a lot of blacks in this country got to be very, very careful with anything that comes across either your cell phone or in Hollywood, because I think they know that right now that they can fucking do anything and stir the pot and have every, former Black Lives Matter activist jump up and say, see what the white man did. See, we do need reparations. I think that is the dumbest argument right now. Because how are you going to go back? If you want reparations, then you start with these companies that's leading the way right now.
You go back to, well, not just that. You go back, keep going. Like they always stop right at, the white man brought the Indians here. I'm like, well, they weren't white men. They were Spaniards.
Mm-hmm.
They were the Spanish, the Spanish and Portuguese and the British. Of them
the
brought them
Dutch
here.
were huge in slave trading.
All of them
then.
brought them to everywhere.
And
China,
they were all
China,
India was in on it too.
Israel was pretty much owned by the man.
Let's not even bring Israel up.
You can't stop at a certain point and say, oh, this is the issue right here that we're dealing with. It is the white man that owes us money. But then you ask that white man, okay, nothing's stopping you, right? Nothing's stopping you from. I've not seen it. We have two white folks on city council who I guarantee if you ask them that if they believed in reparations, they would say yes.
Of course.
But neither one of them has provided their paycheck to me.
No.
Neither one. There's nothing stopping them.
Until it comes out of their pocket.
No, it has to come out of the people who make billions of dollars. Oh, no. Yeah. I mean, I can't give it to you right now. I don't have any money on me right now. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Speaking of Donnie Lamondo, you see he got demoted?
He said he wasn't demoted. He said it was just,
he
said
do
it
you
was
believe anything he says?
Absolutely not.
Right.
But I'm just saying.
He looked so sad when he said it too. I feel bad. I mean, I don't want a man being demoted and losing his job and losing his, getting a cut in an income.
If you suck, yeah.
If you suck and you're a liar,
yeah.
That's literally you suck and you're a liar.
If you deliberately try and, tell folks, tell your viewers to shame anyone who does not get the vaccine and they shouldn't be allowed to eat. He said, to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if that wasn't a diva statement from,
and
a diva.
He's used the term "we" many times when he's talking about Democrats.
Oh, yeah.
He is on CNN saying "we," you talking about Democrats and then talking about BLM stuff. That's not your job. Your job is supposed to be fair, honest, down the middle, not using emotions, not swaying one way or the other. Now, obviously, that's not really what happens. Anyone that sits there and says CNN is fair, honest reporting, you should get smacked in the face. No. And the same thing with any other news source, OAN or Fox News.
How about The View?
Or The View.
Oh,
well, The View is a talk show.
Still,
I'm gonna give
doesn't matter.
that.
Like anybody that goes on that show, right? They all align with the left.
Oh,
and
the far left, not just the left.
Yeah, the far left. And if you even thought of aligning yourself with Trump, you are a problem. You are a racist, a sellout.
Not just a problem. You are a threat to democracy.
Yes, man.
Ooh. Democracy is at stake for anyone who is an ultra MAGA Republican.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, man.
What are you talking? Oh, January 6th. All right. That sucked. That was a terrible incident. That was a terrible day. The one day that people destroyed stuff. And I had to correct somebody last week who wrote, oh, so you're okay with 5 police officers dying from the January 6th insurrection? I said, stop right there. Stop right there. You've been lied to. You've been lied to. One person had a blood clot and died like days later, and then 4 other police officers killed themselves. And I said, I'm not in the business of blaming other people for a person committing suicide.
Mm.
I'm not in that business. I'm not okay with that. I'm not gonna blame anyone but that person that either took those pills, put those pills down their mouth, or shot themselves, or talked bad about the Clintons. I'm not in that position to say that them committing suicide was on anyone else but those 3 reasons. That's it.
But doesn't it seem kind of odd though that they use that as like a rallying call for that
I
insurrection?
I can't
is what they
see it
call
though. Like I don't understand. Like I can usually see where they're getting it. Like I can understand that. Fine, January 6th, absolutely. That was a terrible incident. But the fact that we've held them longer than any BLM person ever, actually every BLM person in the entire country put together, the amount of time they've all been put together has not been the amount of time that we've held like 3 people from January 6th.
They had that bail money ready. If that, they probably got out no bail.
No, they didn't get charged.
Nothing.
Remember the people locally?
Yeah.
They let them go because city
Let 'em
council
go.
wrote them a letter.
Oh, who in city? Who?
Everybody but one person.
Wow.
Everybody but one person signed off on that
Was
letter.
our current mayor on that list too?
Oh, he was.
Oh, it makes sense with the Daniel Prude nod that he did as well. And
Speaking of Prude Park,
Prude Park.
it's not gonna be Prude Park. It's the amphitheater. Let me just be honest there.
Gosh, okay.
MLK Park Amphitheater named Daniel Prude Square. How do you feel
Wow,
about this?
that is just dumb.
How do you feel about it? Let's be honest here. Talk to me
I'm
as a,
sorry.
talk
I
to me
think-
not as Lavelle Lewis. Talk to me. Take away Lavelle Lewis and your personal feelings about it. Talk to me. Just pretend like all you are is a black man. Talk to me.
Well, a black man without any historical knowledge of the people in the city that have done
Yes.
shit for this.
Yes.
Okay.
With
So
no
just,
historical knowledge of that.
no, just
Coming in and saying, oh, and all you know is Daniel Prude was killed by a police officer.
then I would say, what
That's
did
all
he
you were
do?
told, should I say?
What did he do? What
Okay.
else did he do?
Okay.
What, you know what I mean? Like,
Is that the whole story that he was
is right. What else happened? How come he's so special? You know,
And remind you, for anyone that hears this, they people will say at the hands of police officers or in the hands of police officers. He was killed in the hands of police officers.
police officers are also a part of this community as well, right? So
The guy was
what are we doing? What are we gonna do when, you know, I don't know, citizens of the city disrupts the community and does stuff to innocent police officers?
we've had a police officer killed.
Did we?
Killed.
Hmm.
2 in 8 years. 2 of them in 8 years were killed by people that they were trying to keep them away from our community. They're trying to keep bad people out of our community, out of our neighborhoods, keeping our families safe. And 2 of them were killed. We don't have a single thing named after them.
Hmm.
Nothing. We have a police officer that lost his freaking vision, who his entire life is ruined because some guy who had legit mental health issues. We didn't name everything after him. We had a police officer that somehow, some way shot himself in the leg. I don't even understand how. Manny Ortiz. They wanted the international market, the that place on Clinton. They wanted that named after him. They said, "Can you name the square after Manny Ortiz, Officer Manny Ortiz?" No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't do
That
that.
was weird because Manny knew a lot of people, and he was. I think you would like. Wouldn't you want to highlight and, you know, kind of bring up these police officers that weren't the ones that they love to vilify within city council, except one?
Do you feel as if the worst of the worst get elevated
Yeah, because they
in one community only?
Yeah, I mean, it's real good gaslighting. It works because you're gonna piss off one group that you know is not going to vote for you, and then you're going to quote unquote uplift or inspire those that you already know. It doesn't take much to kind of get them going and start messing up shit.
What are you going to tell your kids when you take them into MLK Park to have some family event night, you know, whatever it is, and they see that plaque at Daniel Prude Square? What would you tell your kid about why that plaque is there and why the square is named after him? What do you even say?
I mean, you know, a man lost his life one night to police officers, but then are you going to tell the full story? Are you going to tell the fact that he was high on PCP as well?
And he was here for less than 48 hours.
And
He's
he
not even
was
from Rochester.
He's not from Rochester, and he was released by the hospital, went back home, and then his family called the police on him. He was walking down Jefferson Avenue, butt ass naked. I mean, there's a lot of information that comes within that story. So the people that support this, the Prude Amphitheater, right? They're gonna lie every time they talk about it. Because the stories that they give is not the full truth. They're lying every time
They only
mention
say
his
mental
name.
health. You know, he died at the hands of police during a mental health situation.
That's
the story.
That's the story.
That's the story.
You're not telling the full truth. You're not telling the full story.
What do you call that?
I think that's lying.
That's lying.
Hmm.
In my opinion, that's lying.
Sounds like it.
If you're not telling the whole truth,
You're lying.
you're lying.
You're hiding something.
You're lying to the people. And come to find out, I'm not going to support anybody on this one. It wasn't Mayor Evans that endorsed this.
Oh, really? That's good.
No. It was brought to him by the president of City Council
Oh,
at the behest of
really?
Stanley Martin.
Oh, of course. Of course. Of course.
So when it was brought to Mayor Evans, it was under the assumption that City Council is behind it. City Council was never told about this.
This is outside Black Lives Matter. This is the same group still working.
From within. Within just using the president. I said from the beginning when he became president that he was going to owe them something at some point. He was going to owe BLM something because they voted for him. The two girls that came on.
This is it right here.
If this isn't it, what is?
They call this type of shit
Kickback?
Well, no, like when you keep using someone's name, they call it like witchcraft or some shit like that, because all you're doing is like these chants, these different type of chants and stuff like that.
Okay.
It doesn't have any like real inspirational meaning to it. It's not meant to uplift anybody. It's meant to entice and anger and kind of create this negative space for people. And
It really is. I mean, there's nothing. What positive
there's nothing positive
is out of this? I want to know what's the positive that you want to come out of this, because there's just so many other people we could have named this amphitheater after.
What did Stanley say as far as the reason for this? Like, what did she say? Did she give like this awe-inspiring speech?
No idea. I don't know. Somebody in the notes can leave us whatever it is that.
You know who gave an awe-inspiring speech? MLK.
Oh,
Now, that was an awe-inspiring
That was
speech.
an awe-inspiring speech. Exactly.
They should name like a theater after him.
They should. I would think so, right? The best line though was, what did he say? He would like to see one day where you be judged by the content of your character and not the color of your skin.
Yeah, weird. Where are we right now?
I think this is the color of your skin is being used as something that we must, feel positive about just because he's black. Not all black people are good, y'all. Just trying to tell you.
But not all black people are freaking criminals.
No.
And it feels like the only people who are uplifted right now in our society are criminals, just because they happen to have gotten into an altercation where the end of it was a really bad outcome. So we put them on a pedestal and name parks after them and build statues about them, name whatever after them, create days for them to celebrate. I don't understand it. So it really irks me of how crazy we've gotten and how hypocritical people are. Speaking of hypocrisy, this is gonna be my favorite one.
Let me say this one quick on this last. It is. I can say this though clearly that at least
there's a silver lining. Go ahead.
Yes, at least the people that's fucking up this country are all part of the same color, white and black. You got a whole bunch of folks up on these higher levels fucking this country up. So I guess we're all still doing it together. I guess. I don't know.
Why's my nail black?
Uh-oh.
That's weird.
DNA
Martha's
test.
Vineyard. Bring up the video, please. Oh my God, this is amazing.
Held a news conference earlier this morning where they were condemning the migrant flights. Representative Jeffries, he said, and I'm quoting him, he said, "You and Governor Abbott need to start acting like governors and stop acting like human traffickers."
Human traffickers.
First, what is your response to that?
How
Second,
dare
is
she?
there a second migrant flight going from Texas to Delaware right
So when Biden is flying these people all over the fruited plain in the middle of the night, I didn't hear a peep out of those people. Okay, I didn't hear a peep.
We talked about it on this podcast about them flying them all across the country in the middle of the night.
That is
I
human
haven't heard a
trafficking.
peep
That is.
about all the people that have been told by Biden you can just come in, and they're being abused by the cartels. They're drowning in the Rio Grande. You had 50 that died in some shed in Texas. I heard no outrage about any of that. I haven't heard outrage about all the fentanyl that's come across the border that's killing Americans in record numbers. I don't hear outrage about the criminal aliens that have gotten through and have then victimized people, not only in Florida, but all throughout the country. I didn't hear any outrage about that. The only thing I hear them getting upset about is you have 50 that end up in Martha's Vineyard. Then they get really upset. And I'm sorry. Those migrants were being treated horribly by Biden. They were hungry, homeless. They had no opportunity at all. The state of Florida, it was volunteer, offered transport to sanctuary jurisdictions because it's our view that, one, the border should be secured. And we want to have Biden reinstitute policies like remain in Mexico and making sure that people aren't overwhelming. But short of that, if you believe in open borders, then it's the sanctuary jurisdictions that should have to bear the brunt of the open borders. So
Go ahead,
that's what
Tucker.
we're doing. But what
Where is he wrong? Honestly, I want to hear from not just you, because I'm pretty sure you agree with him.
Yeah.
I want to hear from the people out there. You tell me right now, where is he wrong about this? Because we talked about it on a podcast. It was actually one of the conspiracy theories that we had discussed, where we were saying how potentially what we had heard was that they were flying illegal immigrants all around the country, placing them in places where they know they're going to, well, what they expect them to do was vote Democrat and turn certain states from purple into blue. That was the thought process there. They did that in the middle of the night. And then when they brought it up to what was the redhead girl's, the press secretary? Well, we'll circle back.
Psaki?
Yeah, Jen Psaki. She was like, it wasn't in the middle of the night. And he goes, 4 a.m. and 4:23. She's like, okay, so early. And he was like, okay, Jen Psaki, early. Red eye flights to cities where the governors were saying, stop bringing them here. We don't want them, and we don't have the infrastructure for them. Stop bringing them here. We here in Rochester are a sanctuary city. So to me, I'm sitting here saying, if he were to bring illegal immigrants here, illegal ones, I'd be upset. I'd be upset because you're right, because we have a ton of people that came here who are legal, who are going through the process, or who came because of military, flights, because they were helping our military in their country. Maybe they're linguists or whatever, and they're coming here because they did a good thing for our country in Afghanistan or in wherever. They came here legally. The government said, come here, we're going to allow you in. Here are some nonprofits. They're going to help you with this, that, and the other. This man, Ron DeSantis, Governor Ron DeSantis, goes to these people right at the border and says, hey, I know you were going to go to Texas. Here is a packet. We're going to send you to Martha's Vineyard. Here are some numbers, phone numbers, an entire packet of phone numbers and addresses of places where you can get help for all the things that you need, because it is a sanctuary city in Massachusetts, which is a sanctuary state, place where they said, we want you here. We want you here, and we will fight against the government from taking you back out and putting you on a military base. Within 48 hours, these rich bastards, there's 17,000 people living on that island right now. 17,000 is like their average of who actually lives on the island. During the summer months, they can handle over 200,000 people. Obama has a 10-bedroom mansion.
This house is nice.
Right. Beautiful. On the water, mind you,
water.
during climate change.
Oh, of course.
You're telling me that your island can house 200,000 plus people. And then you got a state like California, in certain cities, they're telling hotels and motels that they have to house homeless people. If they have any empty rooms, they are forced to put homeless people in those hotels and motels. But you're telling me that Martha's Vineyard, that can hold 200,000 plus people, couldn't find enough rooms for 50 people? Many of them were families. You couldn't find that?
No, because they got to do work. They have to do work, and then they have to go close to those dirty people and help those dirty people.
It's
And
just most Democrats. I'm tired of this. They
got COVID.
The hypocrisy is so disgusting. There is no Democrat except for myself and Tulsi Gabbard, who I love. I love Tulsi Gabbard. She should have won president. Who give a flying F about the 2 million illegal immigrants crossing Texas and Arizona border. No one talked about it except for Republicans and very few Democrats who are like, yeah, this is messed up. We have tiny cities like Uvalde, Texas, or Del Rio, Texas, tiny low-income cities. These are not Martha's Vineyard multi-millionaire, mansions, who are being forced to house over 2 million people since Biden has taken office. Over 2 million people have crossed our border illegally into not specifically those two cities, but many of them, tens of thousands into those two cities. Del Rio, Texas usually has about 17,000 people. So if 15,000 people show up, if 50 people show up to Del Rio, Texas, that's a big deal in a small city like that, where it's not multi-millionaires and billionaires. They don't live there. It just blows me away how there's so many Democrats who are going after DeSantis, saying that he's just using them as political pawns. What were we doing before for the past 2.5 years then? Or for the past 2 years, however long it's been. What were we doing before? Was it not using them as pawns?
Were we not using Black Lives Matter as pawns? That's what they do. They've used like, it is so funny. Like whenever their shit is tossed right back at them, it's like, oh my God, how can you, how dare you, how this, how that, how fast they turned into conservatives, right? The ones that they talk about, they turned conservatives real quick.
Have compassion.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The Obama house is on 29 acres with 7 bedrooms and 8.5 bathrooms. You're telling me that your 29 acres on the water on a private island, you couldn't put tents up? You couldn't put 10 tents up to house 5 people each?
Well, the vice president is in charge of that anyway, right? She's in charge of the border and what happens, and she's yet to go down there to see anything.
Responsible for it. That doesn't mean she's in charge of it.
Oh, okay.
She's responsible.
Has she gone back? Has she gone down to the border yet?
No, she hasn't been to that border. She hasn't been to the southern border. She's been to Canada, I believe. But you see how quickly they'll talk about reparations, how quickly they'll talk about having empathy for illegal immigrants. You see how quickly they say this is what we should do. But then when it comes time to actually do it, the action behind their words, where is the action? Show me the action. Yeah. If this isn't exactly showcasing the virtue signaling of the left, then what is? Yeah. Because I just don't get it.
What do they do in That's a Democratic state, California, and it's by the border. I'm pretty sure they have border issues as well.
You see what's happening over there?
What's going on over there?
Bro, there are I don't want to say Mexican, because it could be Venezuelan, whatever it is. Cartels taking over land. They're buying property cash, and they're doing their illegal drugs on this land. Like they're growing illegal weed. They're growing, doing all the drugs are coming onto this land, whether they're buying cash or they just straight took it over, and they're just setting up shop. Literally setting up shop in California. This was like on Netflix or something like that. I forget where I saw it.
I think, I saw the previews for that.
Yeah,
it's a big, huge issue.
They're not doing anything.
No.
Because it's what? They're going to send ICE against them? No. That freaking California would never send ICE against people because they think that they're selling drugs and starting up a
They would look bad against their whole entire, platform.
Dude,
it's really bad.
I'm not. How do I say this? I just constantly feel in the gray. Like I just feel like it's not that I have. I'm not sad. I'm not depressed. I don't want to kill myself. I would never kill myself. I'm very blessed. I'm a blessed man, far beyond what I deserve, far beyond. But every day it seems like why do better? Why work harder? Why be a better man when everything is just given to the lowest common denominator?
Yeah.
Why do anything when I can just become a criminal?
Yeah.
Why don't I become a criminal, start freaking robbing all the drug dealers? I've got enough guns. I got enough friends that are freaking trigger happy and have mental health PTSD issues who would love to start just shooting bad people.
Shoot them up
What's stopping that? Why can't I just do that?
because you have a soul.
No, I'm not even gonna joke about my soul. I'm not gonna joke about that. God bless me. There are some signs of fighting back against some of the nonsense. This is gonna be a tough conversation here, but bring up the Charles Finney School. Did you hear anything about Charles Finney?
Mm-mm.
This is here in Penfield. Penfield's school policy to discontinue enrollment of LGBTQ students sparked backlash. Charles Finney School is a private school, a private Christian school, right? They came out and said, look, we're not against you as a person, but we're not going to promote that sin. Do whatever it is that you want, but we're not going to endorse, promote. We're not going to allow that sin in our school, and we're not going to allow you to teach that it's okay to sin amongst our other students. Remember, this is where the hypocrisy comes in. People are up in arms that my child is going to the school and no longer feels the Christian love towards them. Well, Christians love you. They love you. This is wrong in the Bible. Period. It's wrong in the Bible. And Charles Finney School is a Christian school. So they're not going to allow sin in their school. It's like saying, hey, I know this teacher over here is banging the principal, but it's her sexuality. I know they're both married, and we're going to go ahead and allow the teacher to bang the principal. And the gym teacher, who is a male, decides to freaking get fake breasts and say that he's a woman yet has a full beard. And you have to enforce your children to go play basketball with that teacher, whatever it may be. It's a private school. So let me twist this around so that people, because I already know I've already pissed off a couple people there. Let me twist this around. Remember when people were talking about how schools were going to require the vaccine in order to go to school? And the people who are all pro-vaccine said, you don't have to go to a public school. You can choose any school you want. You can go to a private school. You can go to a charter school. You can homeschool your kid. You don't have to send your kid to a public school. If you don't like it, you have the choice. Same thing with their jobs. My job is requiring a vaccine. Well, it doesn't require it. It's just if you don't get the vaccine, you have the choice. You don't have to come to work. You don't have to work here. You could go ahead and move to a different state where they don't have the vaccine requirements. Here is a private school that says we are not going to be okay with promulgating this ideology where we're going to be telling kids that it's okay to sin. Because that's what it comes down to. It really is. And I get it. Some people say, this is how I was born. It's not a belief. This is how I was born. People should accept me. Sure. We can accept the person, but the school believes it's a sin. Don't send your kid to Charles Finney School. It's a private school.
Yeah. It's private
but they're up in arms about it.
Yeah. There's nothing private anymore. Your private property will be no more.
You can't say things like that on social media because it's a private entity. You don't have First Amendment rights with a private corporation. So take your words over to some other social media thing. I hope people see it. Like, you can't say that, or you can't do that, because you can choose to go somewhere else. You can choose to take your kid to a different school. You have a couple different choices of private schools, but most private schools are Christian based.
Why would you want to take them to a private school anyway when you know the public school is anything goes?
That's what I don't understand.
Anything goes, bro.
They're teaching their kids that you can choose your gender. You can choose whatever the hell you want. You can choose however you want to live your life. That is not the Christian way. That's not what the Bible says. You don't choose your way of life.
They're encouraging it. The age of 10, they want permission to say, yeah, get the sex change at 9. Billy, you can be Barbara tomorrow. The fuck? Let them live. Don't take your kid there. Why would you want your kid to be?
Why would you want your kid to be
Why
there?
would your kid want? Why?
Right.
Why would you want them there?
You're not going to feel welcome. You're not going to feel, but they're attacking Christianity. That's the problem here.
That's all it is.
Austin, how do you feel about this? Because we know Austin how he feels
Right.
about it, religion.
Yeah, I'm the
would
resident
you
liberal, I guess.
would you create
I would say
backlash?
you're a liberal. We just know you and that Bible thing don't get along.
No, I don't believe in the Bible. I'm not a,
Right.
I'm not a Christian.
So if you had a
but
child that you were going to take to Charles Finney School,
I want to take him to Charles Finney School.
That's it.
all right? Well, I mean,
I-
you wouldn't take them
I'm-
anyways, right?
Right. I'm not a Christian. Why would I take my kid to a Christian school?
There you go.
If your child doesn't fit the parameters of that school,
Mhm.
don't send them to that private school. This is a private school. It's
How-
not a public school.
How weird is that as the parent though? That like I understand you want to support your kid. Fine. You know what I mean? Like you support
Have
your
it, Dwayne
kid.
Wade.
Do
We
what
don't
you
care.
gotta do. Right. Have them wear, a dress all you want. But like why would you want to send your kid to a Christian school when you know that within just the religion itself, it speaks about what your child is doing as a sin? Like, how do you even I don't understand. And again, homosexuals, whether you're gay or straight, however way you choose to follow your religion,
Your choice.
it's your choice.
Just like I'm gonna put in here, and a lot of people are probably gonna hate me for this. If you have an abortion, that's your choice. No one, they don't have to believe in it, or no one's gonna. They're gonna remember that lady that said, I just had aborted, and she's like, oh damn, you had an abortion. She's like, yeah, twins, and the lady behind her was like, damn, double homicide. That was messed up. But we can allow abortion, but that doesn't make it right.
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 Yeah.
This school is sitting here saying we're going to go ahead and put our foot down on this issue.
Well, forgiveness is all a part of the faith, right? The religion, Christianity, to be able to forgive,
Right. Not acceptance.
not accept, but forgive.
Forgiveness.
Forgive you for your sin.
Right.
You're sinning every goddamn day. Like you're not giving enough space for
In the eyes of God, in the eyes of the church, that's what it is. And I
Yeah.
know there's plenty of churches out there who have turned their back on the morality of the Bible,
It's that
right?
money.
They say things change, right? That money changed real
That
quick.
money.
But the fact of the matter is, I have plenty of gay friends. I love the crap out of them. And I don't judge them at all for what they do. I tell them all the time. I've been at the bars telling my friends, hey, God loves you. I'm not going to judge you. That's not my job to judge you. I can sit there and say, you be gay, have at it. I'm good doing me. You be good doing you. I'm not going to judge you. I also don't care what you do in your bedroom because it's not my,
Mhm.
I don't care.
That's all it is what you do in your bedroom, bro.
What happened to that?
Yeah.
I miss those days of whatever I do inside my own house is none of your business.
Yeah.
I miss that. Can we go back
Right.
to that?
Can we go back? I mean, yeah, listen, sex is great, but does everybody need to know what you do privately? Like you could be a heterosexual man, right? 100%, but just like to watch. There's a lot of those guys out there like that. That's
a lot of
weird
guys.
as shit. Me, I like game time. I like to perform.
You're not a voyeur?
Not a voyeur. No, I'm not watching. Like, that's okay. I'm not doing that. But there's a lot of people that like that. You know what I mean? Like, whatever you do, it's not going to change how I feel about you. I may look at you like, damn, dog, you missing out. But
Yeah, if I see somebody walk around with a upside down pineapple on their shirt, I'm automatically assuming that they're out there with some other people. Hey, do what you want.
do what you want.
This is, if we just live,
upside down pineapple, though. What is that?
you don't know what that is?
No.
It's a sexual deviant in me, I guess.
oh,
swinger.
God. Oh, see, I never knew that.
If you see somebody walking around in the grocery store with an upside down pineapple, they're looking for somebody.
I'm stepping up. Like,
Go
yo,
ahead.
what up?
Yeah, but then you have to bring somebody else to the table for their significant other.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
it
you
gotta
can't
be
just
a
go
swap.
in.
Oh, okay.
That's very selfish of you, Laval.
Very.
That's super
very.
selfish. Come on,
Hey.
dude. Learn the rules.
Hey, about to get into
Jeez.
the game.
No. But again, I want to reiterate this. And this isn't apologetics by any means. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. I don't care what you do in your house. It is not my job to judge you. I may not agree with it. I may not agree with half of the things that people do out there. That doesn't mean that I am the judge of all life and creation. That's not me. That's not my job. I'm not fit for that job. I can guarantee you that. I'm not fit for the job of judging other people's actions, sexual choices, what they do in their bedrooms, how they act, how they dress, who they find attractive. I don't care. Can we please, everybody out there, can we please go back to it's none of your business? Can we please go back to that? That's all I ask. Can we please go back to that? None of your business. What is some of my business here, though? As a military veteran, can we bring up the Army soldiers article here? This is, I do have an issue with this. So our Army soldiers here, the Army suggests soldiers fighting inflation go on food stamps. We are telling the heroes of our nation, those who are putting their lives on the line, even if they aren't at war, they're still putting their lives on the line because they are constantly at every beck and call of the U.S. military. They don't get paid a lot of money. They do get a lot of benefits, such as pretty much free housing. I mean, I was in the barracks for the entire time I was in the military. You do have, when I was in the military, I was stationed on a lot of Air Force bases, which was fantastic because they had a cafeteria, which was like top-notch cafeteria on bases. It was great. If you ever get a chance and you join the military, I would always suggest Air Force because they're number one, they're just not as badass as Army or the Marines, but also they treat you well. They treat you better. Your barracks are better. The food is better. You have like chefs that prepare your food. Like I remember going into for breakfast, I would have a breakfast sandwich every day, and you would walk in and you tell the chef in front of you how you wanted the egg cooked to be put on your egg sandwich, which was a bagel. Not like you could choose a bagel, you could choose an English muffin. It was phenomenal. I had a great time when I was in training. But to tell Army soldiers, I'm going to guess that these are families, like they have their families with them. I'm going to guess that they have, a wife, kids, or a husband, kids, whatever it may be. To tell them to fight inflation, go on food stamps.
That makes no sense.
They're the federal government is paying you. So why would the federal government pay you and then also tell you to get on federal government subsidies to be able to buy food? Shouldn't they just increase your paycheck?
Is it just for individual, or what about, soldiers with families?
Well, I can tell you right now, I don't think that it's individuals. Because usually when you're an individual, you make decent money to be able to, well, who knows with inflation now? That's the thing. I'm going out based off of when I was in the military. When I was in the military, I made enough to get by very easily. I was living in the barracks. The food was, hey, they paid you a certain amount and said, hey, have at it with your food. Either go out to eat every day or, cook your own food. Figure it out. We made fine money, but this was 2000 to 2004. We're talking about, man, I'm old. That was 18 years ago when I got out of the military.
How much has changed though, bro? Like you are getting a meal plan. You are getting a meal plan.
You weren't getting a meal plan.
Oh, you weren't?
No, unless you were like deployed. You weren't getting a meal plan. You were getting paid and said, we pay for your housing, we pay for your utilities. You just got to pay for your own food. That's it.
So now,
since the military, I'm going to guess
they want to give you food stamps on top of it.
They don't want to give you food stamps. They're telling you go on food stamps.
Go on. Oh, what the fuck?
They said since the food prices have gone up so much and we don't pay you enough, we need you to go on food stamps. It's the federal government that gives food stamps, and it's the federal government that pays the military. So I'm so lost in this whole thing. How is that up? Someone explain me. If someone can understand this better than me, I feel like I'm a pretty smart person. But
well, obviously we're not as smart as the PCP podcast that everybody was expecting to see today. We got one half of PCP here in the building.
Sup?
He's here. Okay.
Was someone actually asking for PCP?
Yeah, of course. And that was definitely a great show. Still is a great show because, again, one half of PCP is here today.
Yeah, this is the only PCP I'm doing this week. The Politically Correcting Podcast.
That's right. You just now got that?
I just now got it.
Never mind. He's not allowed to respond to this army
Yeah.
suggestion because if I can't understand it,
No one's gonna get it. It makes no sense. Like that's not even.
it doesn't make sense to you, right?
No, and it's
Okay.
nothing that kind of inspires them to kind of do better or do more, and not depend on their fucking government for things.
Well, I feel like the kind of military that we have joining now, they probably would be like, yeah, let me get in there.
Let me do that, yo. That makes sense. That makes sense. You know, like, what? You know, might as well.
I don't-
You
I
know
don't-
how much we could get.
I don't think their voices are that deep anymore.
Oh, you know how much money we can get?
Let's get to the
$400 a month
get that music ready.
for stamps for food. That's a lot of money, man. Like, yo, we give out a whole lot of money on, you know, government aid. A lot. So now we're gonna give it to our military too? What the fuck? We got money growing on trees in this country, boy.
Do you not think that's going to increase your taxes? Like, I don't understand how people don't understand that.
That's not inflation.
Where do you
right?
think
That's
that
not gonna
money
add to
comes from?
inflation. I mean, it does have to get paid for, right?
Yes.
It's an IOU to
It
the
comes- the
grocery
government-
stores.
I don't know if anyone knows this, but the government doesn't create any money. They
Mm-mm.
just print it
Call the
out of
mint.
thin air. They just add zeros. They don't actually make money. They're not a business. They don't create revenues. They take from you. They take from you every time you get paid, every time you buy something. That's it. Every time you work for $1 and then you give 30%, you give 30 cents to the government. So you get 70 cents left over.
Mhm.
And then you go buy food. That's 10 cents. Well, guess what? The government wants 3 cents of that as well. So you just pay 13 cents. So all in all, after all said and done, how much money did you really make out of that $1? You ended up taking home
50%.
and not maybe. So if we're sitting here saying, I keep hearing people say, we should be paying a minimum wage, or I'm sorry, a livable wage. Well, first of all, what's a livable wage? Second of all, livable to who? Because I can live off of very little because my means are very little because I try not to live above my means. Very simple as that. But also, if the government is not paying enough, because we know that rent has increased dramatically in Rochester, right? So what they're saying is that the city of Rochester needs to step in and put a cap on rentals.
They're still kicking that shit?
They're trying. So my answer to them is, okay, so you keep claiming these people who are making under $22,000 a year. I'm going to go ahead and assume there's only 3 groups of people who are making under $22,000 a year. Teenagers, those who are disabled, and those who are just living off of government benefits,
Mhm.
meaning they're probably not working at all. I'm sorry. I said teenagers. Yeah. Those who are working minimum wage jobs. We're just going to go ahead and say teenagers, but nowadays it could be really anybody. You're not making enough money. So out of those 2 groups, those who are on disability and those who are living off the government wages, the government can go ahead and increase those wages if they want in order to make up for the increase in rental. But you know what that means? People like you and I, people like Austin, we have to pay more taxes.
Yeah.
So do you want to, there's no right answer here because the answer will always come down to how much more of your paycheck do you want to give up?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's really all it comes down to. Unless you want to say, let's charge higher taxes on imported goods, which means you're going to pay more for goods and services. So you're going to essentially get taxed more. That it all comes down to how much money are you going to keep in your pocket? And multimillionaires like Donald Trump, who was villainized when they showed some tax return of how much he paid, which was very little, that was not the full tax return. If you know anything about tax returns, that was like 1 page out of probably 200 pages. Don't get played. All right. If you don't know anything, if you've never read a tax return or know how to distinguish a personal between a personal and a business, or understand a Schedule C versus Schedule E or Schedule K, then stop talking about Donald Trump's tax returns. Donald Trump understood. He didn't understand. He pays people to understand how to get away with keeping more money in his pocket than to give to the federal government.
Yo, you heard what he did with his wife, his ex-wife?
Buried her ass.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand why
What?
don't even tell them. Don't even tell them.
Gangster.
Do you understand why he buried his wife at his golf range? If not, you need to learn.
Make sure
Ex-wife.
Ex-wife.
If you don't know why he buried his ex-wife at his golf range, you need to learn about taxes. You need to learn about tax benefits. The government does 2 things. When they want something or they want you to stop doing something. If they want you to stop doing something, they tax it. If they want you to do something, they incentivize it. Plain and simple. If they want you to create more jobs, they will incentivize you to hire more people. If they want you to create more services or more products, if they want you to grow more corn, they're going to subsidize it. They're going to incentivize you. If they don't want you to grow more legumes, they're going to tax you. That's all the government can do.
If they don't want the private sector to make money in real estate and, you know,
They will
find
tax
ways,
it.
they will tax, or they will put rent caps so that you, the private citizen, cannot prosper anymore. We want you to decrease your quality of life and become equal.
They want to create equality by lowering the quality. As simple as that.
Do they not know that's what's going to happen though? If you put rent caps on people's ability to either increase or raise based off of expenses from taxes, the expenses that it takes to maintain the property, because again, we all want people who are poor to live like fucking kings. We want them to live in like the most lavish houses.
They do live like kings in America. That's the thing. If you look at people who are poor in other countries, well, they say poverty, and I always ask, what does poverty mean to you?
Yo,
because poverty is not a smartphone in your pocket,
bro.
Poverty is not an air conditioning. Poverty is not having a vehicle,
bro. In Rochester, New York, you can have a side street off of Joseph, right, where a string of houses are fucked up, right? But you can go around the corner where there's a string of houses that looks very, very good, very nice. You have houses in this city, in these rough areas that are actually valuable, like over $100,000, and they're like in the trap. They're in the trap. So,
and remember, we're giving away money to buy those houses.
Yes,
we're giving away tax benefits to buy those houses. People, we're incentivizing you to buy these rundown houses, renovate them, and then rent them out at low income. We're incentivizing you to do it. So everyone that screams, we need to lower rent, we need to put a tax cap on it. I have talked to the tenant union when I first started on city council. I met with them and I said, so how many units do you guys own? Because you keep talking about how you want to limit rental, the cap on the rents. None. They don't own any building. And I said, you do understand that you can, if you pooled all your tenants together and said, for the next 2 years, we need you to put in $10 a month. Let's say you have 1,000 people, right? I'm going to do the math for you right here on air. How many renters do we have in Rochester? Do you have any idea?
Ooh,
because we're like 60%.
What 46% are owned by whites, and then 30 something are owned by blacks and Latinos or something like that. So there's only 200,000 residents. So kind of go there.
210,000.
210,000.
But some of them are kids. Some of them are not old enough. So let's say out of 150,000 people who are of age and can rent, let's say let's underplay it. Let's say 10,000 renters that you can. The tenant association should be able to get a hold of every single one of these. But let's cut that in half. I mean, I'm undercutting it so far down. Let's say 5,000 renters that they can reach, that they already have the ability to reach these people. And you say, hey, for the next 2 years, I need each of you to put in $5 into this fund. At the end of 2 years, we're going to buy a building. We're going to rent it at the cost that it takes to maintain that building to the standard that it's at right then and there. 5,000 people paying $5 a month. That's $25,000 a month. Times 2 years, that's 24 months. That's $600,000. $600,000 will buy a pretty damn good building, right? And it'll be owned by the entire tenant association. So they get to pick and choose.
They don't have the motherfuckers on that union don't have the brains to do that, man. They don't know what it takes to maintain a property or
no, they don't understand
anything.
That if inflation has gone up, just inflation on things that are not really like not including utilities. We're just talking about bare necessities. If that has gone up 8-point-something%, can you imagine if you included utilities in your rent? How much? And RG&E utilities are supposed to go up 25% in the next year, at least 25%. And you included that in your rents. How much are you going to include? How much are you going to increase your rent by?
You making that jump.
You have to increase it.
You got to increase it.
So
it's expensive.
How do you not understand this? Your expenses, your taxes have gone up at least 17% in the past 2 years. Your property taxes have gone up 17% in the last 2 years. Average, all throughout the country, it's gone up. I'm not the country, all across the city, it's gone up 17% for anyone who owns a house. So if you own a rental and your property taxes have gone up 17% and your utilities are about to go up 25%, including what they went up before, your insurance went up because of all of the nonsense that's gone over the past 2 years. Some people can't even get insurance because of the zip code that they live in. So all three of those things that cost you every single month has gone up. Let's say average it out to 15%. And you were paying $600 a month before. Your rent went up $50, and you show up to city council yelling at us that your rent went up $50.
The fuck you think? Yo, put it like this. All right, renters, right? We could do this quick math. So you can kind of see how much your rich ass landlord is pocketing, right?
Rich white landlord. Remember?
Rich white landlord, because they're the only motherfuckers that know this game, right? So let's say this one rich white landlord has this one property on Joseph Avenue that he's trying to, do good for the community, right? And put his time and effort into managing
He's trying to provide housing.
Right. And the market rent in this area is only $1,000 a month right now, right, for this family. So on any property that you own, you're going to account for expenses. And the rule of thumb with real estate investors is you will take 45 to 50% out of your rent for unforeseen expenses, like your mortgage, which you already know, your taxes, which you already know, water bill, which you are responsible for, vacancy rates, because again, your house is not going to stay occupied for the most part of the time. So let's say you got $100,000 mortgage or $90,000 mortgage, around $400, $500 a month for just the mortgage alone.
Not the taxes.
Not the taxes. So let's put these taxes in there. That's another $200 to $300 a month.
And insurance.
$800, $900, all of a sudden that $1,000 that you're hoping that you get each month is down to $100 a month cash flow. If you're lucky.
Cash flow.
There's
a lot of people out there that don't even understand what cash flow is.
No, that's the leftover. That's your net.
That's your gross minus expenses.
Yes, expenses.
That's your paycheck minus your taxes.
Exactly. You're getting $100 a month off of this property that you have to be available for. Oh, and you must be prepared to handle any issues that may arise from
at any time.
So if that hot water tank breaks tomorrow,
if someone locks themselves out,
you have to accommodate, because that is your business, your job. You have to create that reserve so that you are prepared to take care of that property. Oh, but what if they fuck your shit up because it's on Joseph? They want to, get lit every day, and your house just ends up having broken windows. And are you going to be motivated to go fix that shit with just $100 in cash flow? Of
it's not even are you motivated, it's can you $100 a month. Say they stayed there for 1 year and they put a hole in your wall and started putting their dog poop in that hole in the wall. That's not unheard of, folks.
Whoa.
That's not unheard of. They put their own human feces in the wall of the apartment that they're living in. They will let that grease fire continue going.
I've seen houses. I've walked in houses with people smeared shit on the walls. Okay.
Yep.
And
their dog pissed through all over the carpet, which has gone through the carpet onto the hardwood floor that was underneath it, which was not really good hardwood floors to begin with. They'll
So let's say they put the cap on this, Jose. Let's say the city of Rochester, Stanley Martin and the crew.
Well, we won't name names.
Oh no, I will see again. You can't. But those who align themselves with that within city council, capping rent.
Right.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
So let's say you cap it, but your dream though is to, of course, buy back the block. You want to increase equity. You want to create equitable opportunities for, people of color within these cities. So again, let's say you put the cap at $1,100. You can't go no higher than $1,100, and then inflation continues to go up.
Utilities keep going up.
Utilities keep going up.
Water bill.
The cost of materials, the cost of lumber, the cost of drywall, nails, tape, even manpower.
Oh, yeah. If you can find it.
If you can find the help. What do you think is going to happen to those properties when, again, I'm only breaking even?
Or when a copper gets stolen?
Or if in fact you don't get rent, you got to go and evict somebody, and then you can't evict them because you stopped evictions.
And then you got to pay them to leave.
You got to pay them to leave.
These are all things that most people, I think most people do understand. I think,
Most people like who? The people who are actually fucking doing the work,
yes.
or the people that's out there complaining and crying
No.
and saying there's no equitable opportunities
No.
in the city of Rochester.
And I don't want them to think that we're dogging on them. I want them to see what the realities are.
Yo.
That's the problem, is that people are zoned in on the issues that they see right in front of them. I live in an apartment that I'm paying $800 a month in, and I have all these issues that have yet to get fixed. You're right. Your landlord needs to fix that. There is a process in place where the city has provided you free legal. You call up 211 and say, hey, my landlord is doing this. I have not gotten it fixed. There's 17, issues on this property. I can see it on the city website. Why aren't you guys getting it done? Okay, here's your legal advice. Every month, don't pay your rent. You put your money into a separate account. You have to have an escrow account. Saying my rent is $900 a month. Here's $900 a month into this account. It's an escrow account for this rental. I tell my landlord, you have been officially noticed that you need to fix these issues before you receive those funds. That's the legal advice they're going to give you. They're probably not going to give you that. No. They're going to say, oh, we got to go to court, and I'm going to go ahead and extend it out for as long as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of it, I'm going to get them to pay you to leave.
It's easier to be the victim, Jose. It's easier to play the victim, and it's easier to get those victims to vote for you.
Well, when you're building, see, this is another thing. We just got legislation passed that we're going to build a staggering amount of brand new housing.
Buying back the block.
In a specific segment, right? We know, I asked all the questions. It's all on record. How much, I said, I know how much a house costs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, you kind of undercutted that amount. I'm like, yeah, maybe nowadays it's certainly more than it was, 5 years ago when I was in mortgages. So let's say it costs $350,000 now to build a single family house. It costs $350,000 to build one. They're going to then sell it to a low income person who can get a mortgage from somebody for $125,000. Where did that value go? Where did that $225,000 in value go? Because it doesn't go to you. You don't get the value in that. The taxpayer spent $350,000. You and I spent $350,000 to build a house for somebody who's going to buy it for $125,000.
Yeah.
Where I see what they say over a long haul. And I really don't want to think about the here and now, but I have to think about the fact that my taxes continually go up, and we're about to build somebody a house for $350,000 and they're going to buy it for $125,000. Can I get that?
Well, why did the city fucking tear the houses down to begin with? Because a lot of these buying back the blocks is going to be built in the same fucking empty lots that the city destroyed.
Do you think it's going to be valued at $125,000 in 10 years?
I mean,
it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, to start. Well, if they over in the what is it, the Garson Ave section?
Okay.
Right, there's I saw the paperwork for that. Right, they're going to put a lot of houses up over in that area, and my friend, he lives over there, and he's like, "Hey, about to gentrify the area." I'm like, well, first of all, you would fucking want that. Okay, I'm sorry. There's a lot of value over in this side of town. Okay, so the only thing that's going to happen for your house.
What's the positive in it?
The positive in is that the value of your house is going to go up. And if you have a mortgage where you bought this house years ago at $60,000, you're fucking happy. You should be happier than a pig in shit, right? Because the value is going to increase, and you're going to have a whole lot of equity. The same shit that these motherfuckers talk about all the time. You'll have that. You're going to have what these fuckers say all the time that they don't know. They don't really understand it. So in those areas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely do it. But again, if it costs more to fix it up and put it in the area, like this isn't Pittsford, so it's not going to equal to that. This is the city of Rochester. This is off of fucking Goodman, and
you're not getting 25%.
You're not
value increase.
No. So we're
without someone building a brand new house on your street.
So we're gonna eat it either way. It's gonna come back in property taxes. Mm-hmm. Property taxes is gonna go up because you got to make up that deficit.
The value went up.
Yeah, the value went up. So that's how they're gonna make that money back. But again, are we gonna see that money? Is the citizens of the city gonna see that money? Probably not. But my main concern though is not everybody deserves to buy or live in a house because it takes a lot of work to fucking maintain a house, especially maintain its value.
Tell
So
'em. Tell
just
'em.
because and again, I tell people, any person that I talk to, I tell them to buy a house, especially if they're renting.
Mhm.
I was like, you're renting? What the fuck is you doing that for? You better try and buy a house. Oh, I don't even know I could do that. I gotta get my credit. Like, yo, listen, don't overthink it. It's not as hard as you think.
Mhm.
Just start at the very beginning. If you have any questions, just ask me. I got you.
You know how many times I've told people, look, you have credit issues, right? Okay, so start fixing your credit right now. And you don't need a house right now. In 2 years, you can have a house, but you have to do the steps right now in order to get to that in 2 years buying a house. But no, everybody wants immediate.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, I have someone that's living across the street from me paying double my mortgage in rent. Double. And it's a very similar house.
But some people need that though, bro, because to depend on them to cut the grass, maintain it,
For double the value of my mortgage payment, I can afford to hire a nanny and a
Some-
cook.
bro. Some people need that service.
Hey, they're
Pay
paying
my-
for it. That's the
Pay
problem.
the
They don't
mortgage
understand.
for me. Pay the taxes for me. Pay
Cut my
this.
lawn.
Pay that. Cut like fuck it. Listen. I am bougie. I'd rather rent than own.
So maybe that's how we need to view it. People who are
Yeah.
renting are bougie.
bougie.
All right, there we
Definitely.
go.
So why are we
Switch the narrative.
Yeah. Why are we sitting there acting like these people ain't like they already think they're
I'm
special?
gonna say that from now on. I'm like, oh, you're bougie.
You're
Man,
bougie. You
oh my
renting.
God. You pay for someone to
You
come and
pay
fix
for
your
somebody to
stuff?
Pay your mortgage,
What?
pay your taxes,
Pay your everything?
pay your water bill.
See, that's how you switch up the perception right there.
You guys are too good to own.
Good job. You are, yeah.
Too fucking good to
Too
own,
good, man. You bougie.
Fuck that.
All right, we've gone over our time, of course, as always.
Did we?
Yeah, dude.
At least it ain't
7:23.
9:10:30.
Yeah, it'd be like
It's dark though, like it is. The fuck.
you can't
happened to-
say that. That's racist.
Well, I'm black, so I can't be racist.
Allegedly.
So to end, we didn't even go over a conspiracy theory of the week, but it's all right.
What was it?
Rain is bad. Don't drink it.
Oh,
Remember when government was trying to stop you from collecting rainwater?
Yeah.
Well, looks like they found a way to really stop you. Study: no rainwater anywhere safe to drink due to forever chemicals.
Oh, fuck is God. Okay. Yeah.
So all the people out there who have been collecting water for so long and trying to, live off the grid or learn how to live off the grid, they're coming after you one way
Well,
or
they
another.
coming after you. They don't want
Coming
that
after
shit.
you one way or another.
You rural motherfuckers.
Well, we always end with John Leguizamo. I haven't heard from him still as of yet. I also haven't seen him in social media either.
You said he cooled down though from the Castro thing.
We got people going off on our
What happened
comments.
about Joseph? What did they say?
1,000 on Joseph. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
that's absolutely.
That's how it is. Hell yeah.
Do you not?
Not a
do you not
one
think-
bedroom.
I'm
It's
a
close
little-
though.
I think a 2-bedroom.
A
definitely.
2-bedroom is definitely, yeah.
A half a house, 1,500
Yeah.
easily.
Like for where mine is at, my price is fucking low compared to for my area.
It's because you're bougie.
Wasn't being nice.
You are too nice. Stop the bullshit. But that's how it needs to be. You want to change it up. Be like Lavelle. Has it been an hour? Yeah, it has been an hour. Food stamps for soldiers. That's so messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Lavelle said it. You're the man. Or thank you, my man.
The
There you go.
PCP. That's what we're
That's
talking
what it was?
about. Yeah.
I hate going through the comments that are after. Yeah. But Kanye West, on the other hand,
Mm.
did you see what he is doing?
His it's available 165 mil. We need to get that money.
What's available?
His catalog.
Catalog for what? That's not even what I
His
was going to bring
music.
up.
Oh,
Oh,
you
for
saw-
real? I know.
Oh, but
Right here,
leaving the
Kanye
Gap
West
and all
says
that?
he's terminating his partnership with the Gap.
Yeah, nah, fuck that. He tried to
But he's
sell his
fighting.
catalog.
He's fighting against China. He
Oh,
said that since they're
really?
making all their clothes in China, and he said, "I don't want no
Oh.
part of it."
really?
He said he wants them. He bought out manufacturers in California, which is really weird to me. I wouldn't want to own anything in California,
Yeah,
and
it's
businesses
super high.
especially, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully he's going to move it to like Montana,
Yeah.
and then move all the legal immigrants up there to work for him. But he's the only one that's fighting against China. Nobody else is fighting against China
He's so crazy.
and Gap. So he's selling his entire music.
Yeah. 165 mil.
Yeah, I feel like that's well worth it.
Right. That's a fire sale.
Go for it, Jose. Then we can
That's
open
a
the show with it.
fire sale.
But does that not speak to, well, maybe he just needs capital?
It's usually what happens when you need cash.
So, folks, listen to me, because this is my land. He does the real estate stuff. I can do real estate, but that's
well, I get
do an
the
investment.
finance stuff too.
my stuff is business financing, buying businesses. That's my normal everyday business, is helping people buy another business or start a business, getting the financing together for it. There's gonna be a lot of businesses for sale coming up. Kanye West selling his entire being, basically. You invest in it once and you just get paid for the rest of your life because you own that music. So if a movie uses it, you get paid. If they use it in a commercial, you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. It could be a terrible song. Like there's a Justin Timberlake song. What is it? I love it, or something like that.
Oh yeah,
I'm loving it.
yeah.
Justin Timberlake had a "I'm Loving It" song, and McDonald's picked it up. I can't even imagine how much he got paid. But buying something, and then, or starting an idea, or starting some form of it, like what's that Buffer? Bruce Buffer. His is, what's his saying in the boxing world?
Let's get ready to rumble.
Let's get ready to rumble. Anytime anyone uses it, sorry, you have to block that out now. Jeez.
Oh,
But a movie used it and he sued them, and he got paid because he owns the trademark.
Wow.
That's, man, if you have an idea, remember what was it? What's her name? Now I'm gonna draw a blank. Dang it. They created a word for it and everything with Beyonce. Not bootylicious.
Fergalicious.
Anyways, starting it once and then licensing it out is amazing. That is like, holy cow, you can live off of the residuals forever on licensing deals. I have yet to be able to finance a licensing deal.
Well, put in an offer Kanye for his catalog and
Well, I'm gonna undercut it.
be rich.
I'm gonna undercut it so that I can afford it. So hopefully he'll take $5. Remember, everyone, the hashtag 41 challenge. You weren't here for it, but I'm gonna call you out for it as well. I need you to donate $41 each month for the next 3 months. $41 to a nonprofit of your choice, or I'm going to aggregate all the money that is sent to me. I'm going to aggregate it. In October, we're going to do our pumpkin thing. I've been doing pumpkins for little kids for a number of years now. I think at this point, we've probably given over 500 pumpkins. Kids can cut them. We're paint on them, whatever it is. We're going to do a pumpkin patch this year. I'm going to do it over on Lexington Avenue. Allow just a bunch of kids to come out and just pick out their own pumpkins and then leave home and go do their own thing, because babysitting kids while they're cutting pumpkins can get a little
It's a lot of work right there.
nerving. Right. So I want to do a pumpkin patch for the kids in the city over on Lexington Avenue.
That'll be
So
cool.
$41 for October. November is going to be, we always do Thanksgiving baskets. So it could be a turkey donation or a gift basket donation of the entire food basket for a family. Donating $41 will go towards that. I have no idea how many baskets that'll buy, because who knows how much food is now. But I will work with a local pumpkin patch place that they can deliver the pumpkins. I'm gonna work with a local turkey place that they can provide turkeys as well. Work with local food supermarkets to be able to provide the food for the Thanksgiving baskets. And then Christmas time, for the past couple of years, we've been doing winter coats. Last year we did winter pants for the kids because they were walking to school. Remember, they didn't have enough buses, so they were walking to school. So families were walking to school, and a teacher came to me and said, I have kids walking to school and they come in, they have snow up to their knees and they don't have any snow pants. They don't own snow pads. So we did snow pants for an entire class last year. It was freaking amazing.
Yo, it's so crazy. Like back in the day, and like Ironically, like that was, you needed snow pants,
Oh yeah.
or you couldn't even have recess. Can you imagine what the, like, yo, listen, moms, you got to get the snow pants or I can't play.
You're wearing 2 pairs of pants with garbage bags on your feet.
On
That's
your
what I would
feet.
do.
Yes, that was
You were
definitely,
bougie,
it
you
never
had it.
worked. Oh, no, trust me, been there, done that.
No, the garbage bag on the feet worked every time for me.
It didn't work.
Put a small pair of sock on, put the garbage bag, not a garbage bag, but a like a Wegmans bag, plastic bag, and I put a large sack
Probably
over
my
it.
boots. I had the construction boots, the ones where you tie the
You
shoe
liar.
string.
You had the Echo.
No, I'm telling you, I had the boots where the strings where you wrap them around the little metal hook on your boots. I forgot what they're called, but them
Yeah.
shits never kept snow out.
No,
Never worked.
they're for decorational purposes only.
Yeah, they look cool, but
Anyways,
never had snow boots.
so I'm calling on you and Austin, get your girlfriend involved in it. $41 for the next 3 months. That's it.
I'll let her know.
$41.
I'll let her know.
She watches the podcast. She'll see it. If you want to donate, let me know. Hit me up. DM me. I'll give you the Cash App or the Venmo or whatever. If you want to do it on your own, spectacular. I'm not angry at you at all. But God blesses a cheerful giver. God blesses you tenfold when you donate, when you give. Trust me, it is a rule in the book of law. Trust me on this one. Even the Jewish people. You know why Jewish people are so freaking rich? That's one of the reasons. They require that like each person donate, and they come back to you every year and like double. They tell you to double your donation for that year. I forget the name of it, but they say that it's a Bible verse in the Bible where it's basically testing God. God says the one and only time that he says to test him is when it comes to giving. When it comes to giving, God promised that he'd give you tenfold back. So if you give with a cheerful heart, he gives you tenfold back. So the Jewish people, they give $15,000 a year, and they
How
tend to
well
get
does
money
that
back.
work for the folks who give to the black churches?
Austin, hit that fucking music.
I wasn't ready. Hold on.